Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
I remember the day you said you wanted me. I jumped right in without a second thought of what we could be. But as the days kept passing by, I just felt wrong about this one. Like I was feeling in my gut. And so I stood back and asked, what did I think this was when I thought I could jump into something so fast? What was going through my head?
The song that you are currently listening to is called The Path. It's a vocal remix of an instrumental track produced by Mellowfi with vocals sung and lyrics written by myself, Jamie Lammers. Final self-promotion for a while, I promise. If you want to learn more about my musical endeavors and check out all of the tracks that I have available on streaming services, then be sure to head to linktr.ee/Animal Doctor to keep up with everywhere that I'm available.
I can't handle this anymore. Now you're slipping away. So I think I gotta tell you today. I know that you said I'd be there whenever you need me, but I gotta stop this. I hope that you remember the good times that we had, but I gotta end this 'cause I'm getting lost in it.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where today I'm bringing you our regular segment brought to you by Maryann Rosen. Before we get into today's segment, though, I have a few preliminary announcements, including our top story brought to you by Brittany Wagner.
Our top story today comes from Dave Gibson, an uplifting Netherlands summer concert. Sponsored by the Netherlands Downtown Development Authority, the summer concert series kicked off in a big way at Chapita Park on Saturday, June 7th. Accessible to everyone and no charge to attend. The Carrie Moran duo took the stage first at 4 p.m. from Billings, Montana. Next was Zimbabwean virtuoso marimba player, singer Blessing Bled Shimanga. Backed by 2 saxophones, drums, electric bass, keyboards, and a female vocalist and percussionist utilizing various traditional instruments, his music is an infectious fusion of African rhythms. You can read the full story in this week's Mountaineer or at themountaineer.com.
Thank you, Brittany, for giving us our top story. If you want to get more news from Peak to Peak, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and click on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our home page to get full access to our digital archives and scanned copies of our physical newspaper. You can even choose to send a physical subscription to your mailbox or to the mailbox of someone that you love. If you want to be involved in the paper and or podcast in any way, shape, or form, then be sure to email our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hardt, at info@themountaineer.com or myself at media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. If you want to learn more about advertising for the paper and or the podcast, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com/advertise. And now, let's get into our regular segment brought to you by Maryann Rosen. Take it away.
This is the Mountaineer Podcast, and I'm Maryann Rosen, bringing you history, lore, or stories from or about the mountains you live in. During the Colorado Gold Rush, the prevalence of brothels was mostly fueled by the remarkable imbalance in the male-to-female ratio in mining camps and towns. This discrepancy created a high demand for women. Simultaneously, women were looking for a way to earn a living and support themselves in the harsh conditions of the frontier. There were few opportunities outside of the drudgery of laundries and the mines. Many women were a death or divorce away from being destitute. Brothels thrived as they catered to the desire of the largely male population and provided economic opportunities for women, though there were some who were coerced or tricked into the business. The social structure of the times often tolerated or even accepted such establishments, especially in the smaller or mountain towns. The city of Denver had a somewhat different attitude. Although brothels were tolerated, the girls were restricted to one section of town to live, shop, and work. They were allowed in the more respectable parts of town to shop for gowns or have health appointments. Although never legalized, prostitution was tolerated as long as it was contained within the confines of the red light district, where women in the profession had their own subculture. There, they could find others to confide in and to find support and human validation, a place to belong. There was also a hierarchy to the world of prostitution. There were those who worked in two-room cribs near saloons, those in brothels, and those women with a genteel air who inhabited highly decorated houses and parlors. Women who worked in this profession were called by many names: soiled doves, jeweled birds, fallen angels, frail sisters, and nymphs du pauve, to name just a few. Colorado certainly had its share of infamous workers and madams. Here are just a few. Laura Evans was Salida's most prominent madam. She ran a successful brothel in town and was known for her rambunctious personality. Around the turn of the century, her life embodied the wild spirit of the American West, and her adventures made her into a larger-than-life figure. Evans originally came to Leadville in 1894 to work as a sporting girl. She was forced to skip town in 1896 after striking miners discovered that she had smuggled payments to scab workers during a labor dispute. This behavior led to a rapid decline in her popularity as a sporting girl, as minors were a large percentage of her clientele. Evans moved to Salida, where she worked her way up from crib girl to madam of her own parlor house at 129 Front Street, now Sackett Avenue, a position she held for 49 years. Behind Laura Evans's disregard of social convention and the wild stories lies a down-to-earth woman. She was always seen with her beloved dog, Mr. Pimp Powers, showing a softer side which contradicts the stereotypical lens in which she is so often seen. Over in Buena Vista, Cockeyed Liz was its most famous madam, and where she ran her Parlor of Joy in the late 1800s. She is also known for her rivalry with another madam, Belle Brown, of whom not much is as known. Since many madams changed their names or eschewed surnames, there was a common occurrence, and many of these women's stories were lost. It was this rivalry, however, which made Liz cockeyed. Belle Brown sent a bunch of rowdy drunks to Liz's brothel. In an ensuing brawl, Liz was cut with a broken bottle, damaging a nerve that controlled eye movement. One of the special stories about Cockeyed Liz, though, is that she got married and settled down. Now, that in itself is not unusual. But what was rare is that they stayed in the small town of Buena Vista, and people generally accepted her in her new role. Cripple Creek had a couple infamous madams. Both Laura Bell McDaniel and Pearl DeVere owned and operated Cripple Creek brothels. Cripple Creek was the last great Colorado gold rush town, so there was quite enough business to go around at the time. Laura Bell McDaniel operated brothels in Cripple Creek and Colorado City. McDaniel was known as the courtesan of Colorado. Her establishment was extremely elaborate. She entered the profession after being left alone with an infant daughter. Uniquely, Laura Bell McDaniel maintained a very close relationship with her mom and family over the course of her career. She sent her daughter to boarding school. Pearl DeVere, the soiled dove of Cripple Creek, owned one of the most successful and exclusive brothels in the town. She was known for her elegance and ability to keep secrets. Pearl moved to Cripple Creek, and within months she had started her own brothel with several girls in her employ. DeVere purchased a small frame house on Myers Avenue from which she operated her business. Known as a good businesswoman, willful and smart, she catered to the most prosperous men in Cripple Creek. DeVere married wealthy mill owner and businessman C. B. Flynn. Unfortunately, within months of their wedding, a fire swept through Cripple Creek, destroying both Pearl's brothel and Flynn's mill. Flynn moved to Mexico to begin anew. However, Pearl DeVere chose to stay in Cripple Creek, where in 1896 she reopened an even more modern and elegant parlor, replete with many individual rooms, intercoms, bathrooms with tubs, a cook, housekeepers, butlers, chambermaids, and musicians. We will now be heading over to Denver when we return from this short break from our story.
And now, some promotional announcements brought to you by the Mountaineer.
Looking for a unique advertising opportunity? The Mountaineer podcast may be a perfect fit for you. Our podcast reaches local listeners at least 3 days each week. We can create your podcast commercial for you, or you can submit your own. Contact Amanda McDonald for additional information. Her email is adsales@themountaineer.com, and her cell is 720-960-2900. Have you checked out the Mountaineer YouTube lately? We are very excited to have a videographer intern this spring, as well as Clementine Miller, who's been working hard to record some of our local events and meetings to share with you. Go check it out on the Mountaineer YouTube. Have you seen our 2024 Peak to Peak Visitors Guide? We have just launched our 2025 Media Kit for the next guide. Go to our website and click on Advertise to see the full media kit there. Spring is springing, and we all know that means the flowers will be popping out all over the place, reminding us of beautiful art. That also means it's time to start thinking about the 2025 studio tour. Go to our website and click on special sections to view the 2024 guide and prepare yourself for this year's edition.
Welcome back. And now heading to Denver with its red light district and its well-known Market Street. Lillian Lil Powers was a well-known madam in Denver, where she owned and operated a parlor house. Prior to owning her business in Denver, Powers worked in Salida, rising from crib girl to bordello owner. She worked for Laura Evans for a few years in Salida, and it is rumored that she is the one who gifted the dog Mr. Pimp Powers to Evans. Powers, in the dog's name, came from Lillian's surname. After years in Denver, Lil Powers owned and operated a parlor in Florence for 40 years until she was shut down in 1950. Interestingly, Florence is now the antique capital of Colorado. Before we move on to another Denver madam, I wanted to mention that a play about Lillian Powers, Laura Evans, Belle Brown, and Cockeyed Liz, all mentioned previously, is put on by Buena Vista Heritage and staged in the town. The play, Madams of Central Colorado, is about these women's stories, the vast impact of madams in the area, and rivalries amongst them, and it will have you buckling up for a night of scandalous secrets and side-splitting sass. Performed once a month this summer, the first show is July 5th, and tickets can be obtained online at Buena Vista Heritage. Perhaps one of the leading madams in Denver was Maddie Silks. She moved from Kansas City with 4 girls that she had hired in KC. They traveled to Denver by way of stagecoach and freight train, equipped with a portable boarding house where the girls could conduct business on the road. Upon arrival in Denver, Silks operated a brothel at 20th and Market Streets. Maddie Silks was not considered to be an upstanding citizen, and she liked to drink. It was this drinking that helped to fuel the infamous nude duel. The so-called nude duel was a legend that sprouted from a drunken brawl involving Silks and Madam Kate Fulton, who also was considered an unsavory character. It is said that on August 24th, 1877, Silks and Fulton were both drinking at a Denver bar. The pair argued loudly, and Silks' boyfriend punched Fulton. Another man attempted to restore peace, and Fulton placed herself in between the two men. She ended up with a broken nose. The drunken brawl was eventually broken up, and Fulton left town the next morning. The story of the fight took on a life of its own, thanks to the exaggerations of several authors. The nude duel is a textbook example of how myths were formed in 19th century Colorado and the broader American West. By 1923, Maddie Silks was on her 3rd marriage, retired, and living a quiet life. The Peak-to-Peak area was not immune to prostitution and brothels during the gold rush. Perhaps one of the most infamous madams in Colorado, and the only one with a day celebrated in her honor, Lou Bunch opened a brothel for the miners working to find gold in what was dubbed the richest square mile on earth. Born in Sweden circa 1857, Bunch came to Colorado in 1877 at the tender age of 20. She worked in Denver for the aforementioned Maddie Silk, but by 1887 she had become a madam in her own right. She was married to well-known gambler George Bunch, who beat her often. Bunch left Denver behind and bought a house on Pine Street in Central City, then the Red Light District. Madame Lou Bunch ran the most successful brothel in town, housing 4 ladies of the evening. In 1910, the U.S. Census shows only 2 women residing with Lou, and both were listed as housekeepers. During an epidemic which swept through the area, Bunch and her sporting girls gave nursing care to sick and dying miners. She opened her home to all in need. Lou Bunch was credited with saving the city. Although prostitution was illegal, most officials in the Central City area turned a blind eye due to loose support of local organizations and businesses. She became a respected member of the community despite her profession. Prohibition forced the closure of Bunch's brothel, and in 1920 she moved back to Denver, where she moved in with Mattie Silks until Silks' death. Bunch moved on to be a companion for another person, and she died in 1925. I mentioned that she is the only madam with her own day. This year, Madam Lou Bunch Day will be celebrated on June 14th in Central City, Colorado. The celebration includes live music, food trucks, a costume contest, the Madams and Minors Ball, and activities for kids. All activities begin with a parade at 12 noon. And of course, there is the famous bed race beginning promptly at 3 p.m. The bed race idea came from and grew from the Western, The Duchess and the Dirtwater Fox, which was filmed in Central City. For more information about Lou Bunch Day, you can go online or pick up a copy of the Mountain Ear in print or online as well. As you can see, there is so much colorful and wild history from Colorado's Gold Rush days. Listen in next time to the Mountain Ear Podcast for more mountain history, lore, or stories. I'm Maryann Rosen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Maryann, for bringing us another great segment. She'll be back in a couple of weeks with another segment. In the meantime, if you want to share this episode or others with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of our homepage, or head to our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. If you're interested in being involved in the paper and or podcast in any way, shape, or form, then remember to email info@themountaineer.com and or media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. And finally, be sure to check out all of our individual podcast descriptions to find all of our most important links. Our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube, the podcast hub, of course, and our new event submission form where you can submit all of the free events that are coming up at your venue. You can also send us a text directly through those subscriptions to give us general or specific feedback. We'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys very soon with another regular segment of the Mountain Ear Podcast. Have a great rest of your day.
I'm getting down on me. Despair has a hold, I'm on my knees. The fear and the darkness, the worry and the cold. I find myself thinking a lot about getting old. But there's always a rainbow you just can't see.
The song that you are currently listening to is called There's Always a Rainbow. It's the latest single written and performed by Lori Dameron. You can check out her previous releases wherever you get your music, and be sure to learn more about her music endeavors and where she'll be performing next by heading to her website, Lori Dameron, that's LaurieDameron.com.
Forward to the end of the day to slip into my sleep. When you're getting down on you, feeling your dreams just won't come true. Those storm clouds that block the light and sometimes make us weep. The glorious colors are right behind. We're born from rain we read. 'Cause there's There's always a rainbow you just can't see. There's always an angel that helps for free.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.